everyone. I wrote this book called Art on the Right List, Navigating Change on the Road to Success. I started my career in wealth management and I switched to nonprofit. Your donor first. Everybody say it with me. Donor first. Donor first. That's what we want you to remember. Our job as leaders is to have a vision. And A leader is the best, right? We're going to give ourselves a grade, A, B, C, D. An A leader is a person with a vision. And the ability to articulate that vision so vividly and so clearly that it becomes others. And your ability to raise money, believe it or not, is tied to your ability to communicate that vision so vividly and so clearly that it becomes the vision of others. Now, we're going to start today in reverse order. We're going to start by talking about having something to talk about. Let's get on something, right? This is your direct marketing funnel. So as we're talking about donors, you have at that very top level, everyone. That's direct marketing. That's your social media. How many of you are doing at least one mailing a year out to your donor base? Oh, we're going to talk more about mailing, folks. Exactly. Thank you. It's your email newsletter. It's email appeals that you're sending out. So all your communications that are going to everyone, that is direct marketing. From there, people are going to select in. They're going to make a one-time donation. Maybe they become monthly payers. That's your sustaining level. Your communication there is sustaining. That becomes more of a giving society, maybe custom communications. From there, we want to identify people who are monthly givers and move them into that mid-level range. Now, people ask all the time, what does a mid-level get? It really depends on your organization. It could be $500, it could be $50,000. There's no right or wrong answer. It has to do with the size of your budget, and it will change over time. Then you get into your major and plan giving donors. That's because Leno's going to narrow down even more. That's where the big bucks are, but those communications are going to be even more tailored to your audience. So let's start by talking about the big picture. Defining your brand. When I left wealth management and went into nonprofit work, I can't tell you how many people called me and were like, you don't have to do this. You don't get a job. You can become a wholesaler, a hedge fund. You don't have to do it. They didn't realize it was a choice. I reached this point where I wanted my life to mean more. I love raising money, and I feel like I often have this, and I told you maybe over here, I'm not a bad person. Just because I talk about money and death all the time, that doesn't mean I'm a bad person in any way, shape, or form. It's just the nature of the work that I've always done, right? And that's what I'm good at. And so I wanted to be able to teach other nonprofits and nonprofit professionals everything I know about inspiring people to give, to tell their story, and to raise more money with confidence. And what I realized in my first couple of years of doing this is that I could only do that if I could strategically unite marketing and fundraising together as one. Now, I am not a marketing person. I'm not a visual person. My husband decorates our home. I don't think that. So I partnered with a marketing firm to help me bring the marketing pieces to life. And the marketing piece really has so much to do. It starts with how we tell our story. So we use the Donald Miller Story Brand Framework in everything we do. This is nodding. I love it. You've read the book. You're familiar. This is really written for businesses, but it applies to nonprofits as well. And what you learn in this book is the 7-part framework to telling a story. And you use that framework in all of your communications. You use it in one-on-one communications when you're meeting with a donor. You use it in print. You use it in email. You use it everywhere in your newsletter. But for today's purposes, we're going to talk about fundraising appeals. How we use the 7-part framework in fundraising appeals. Now, there's a lot of confusion in the nonprofit world about what constitutes a campaign. So let's just clear that up. And I think it's because we hear like, oh, we're in a capital campaign. Oh, we're in this campaign. Capital campaign is where you're raising capital for one specific thing. But each and every one of you, as a nonprofit organization, should be running multiple campaigns throughout the year. You don't just do one annual appeal And that one annual appeal does not consist of one letter that you send out to your donor base one time, right? You want your campaigns to be a coordinated effort of appeals. So a campaign is simply a set of communication pieces. They are designed to acquire, to upgrade, or to further a relationship. And throughout that campaign, you will have multiple appeals. So you will have pieces of mail that go out. You'll have emails that can be included in your newsletter, maybe text messages, phone calls, videos. Sky's the limit. The only thing limiting you is your own creativity. The purpose of a campaign is, first and foremost, to raise money, right? Secondly, to raise awareness. This is your time to show what your organization does, to showcase people like Wyatt, and to be able to tell the story about why what you do is so important and how people can get involved and become your partner in that mission. And lastly, to gain a response. What's fascinating about campaigns, and I have 50 million stories like this, but you may be sending communications out for years. People are reading them. You just don't know when it's going to hit for them. And not just hit that they love your mission, but when they also have money. I remember this lady, her name is Jessica. I love her. She actually lives here in Ocala. She called me one day right after nursing home for boys and girls, and she's this real shaky voice because she had a stroke. She says, Angie, I just saw her article. I've only ever given $25, and I know you need new windows for the girls' home. And I know you need $120,000 for that. I said, Jessica, me too, and I appreciate your call, but I'm so glad that you're passionate about our girls' home. Anything you can share will help us be able to replace those windows. Well, I only have $110,000. Will that be okay? So you just never know when something is going to hit. Here's a woman who never made more than $25, and she comes in with $110,000. Give people something to talk about. People don't want to give to your needs. We all have needs. And this is where our story comes into play. It's not about you, it's about who. Number one takeaway for today. The donor, right? People want to give to big, bold programs. They want to give to visions that inspire. They want to be a part of something. And I gotta tell you, folks, there's so much going on in the world right now, and everybody's petrified about funding. Where's the funding going to come from? For me personally, I am so excited. If you can't tell, I am really excited about this opportunity to get people involved in their communities. Bring them in. Let them become your partner. Make your donors your partner in your mission. That's what people want. They want to feel inspired. And this isn't just major donors. This is every donor. Now, the power of story. Let's tell the story. This is how we understand and process the world. It's why we have the Bible. It's why movies and the movie industry is so good. It's why we love books. We understand and process the world through story. Now, for all of my scientists out there, what were our brains actually intended to do? We only do two things. Process information, okay. It's like an added benefit to the brain. The actual part of the brain, it is designed to make your body survive and thrive, right? That's what it does. And it wants to conserve calories. That's it. Everything else is an added bonus. The reason that we tell everything that we do through a story is that it's easy for the brain to process. The more information we give, the less people understand what we say. Now, who here has had that experience where somebody says, like, oh, tell me what your nonprofit does? And you start talking and you kind of see their eyes go like, you have that experience? I call it ego, my eyes glaze over. It's because as nonprofit professionals, we're so excited about everything we do. And everything is amazing. And someone asks us what we do, and then we word vomit all over them. Like, we want to talk about all 57 programs we have, and the number of meals that we gave out, and how many diapers kids got. It's too much information. They can't process it. So you need a story, a simple story that people can understand that helps them relate to you and identify with me. So the 7 parts of this framework are, you have a character or hero, you have who has a problem, they need a guide. You, the organization, and the donor. Remember, the donor is your partner. You are the guide. You have a plan or a process that they can follow. And if they follow that, so that's the call to action. Like, hey, you have this plan, you have to do it. Right? Dr. Reed, if I buy a lotion and I do not put it on my skin, will it work? No, right? So this is the call. And my husband does this. He has all these vitamins. He buys them all the time. He puts them in the cabinet. He's like, I just can't get the vitamins, but they never feel better. And they come, it's so weird. So you have this call to action, but then you also have to demonstrate success or failure. But here's the thing. We never want to tell our donors that we have failed or that we might possibly fail. But we should. Because they need to understand the consequence of not partnering with us. It is not bad to say I have failed. I mean, I have failed so many times. We don't have time for that. They didn't give me an extra 4 hours for that. But we do want to tell people what our potential failures or even past failures have been so that they can understand why it's so critical to get involved. Okay, so this is really what this looks like. We're getting to the working part here. So you have a character. So for you all, who's the beneficiary in your organization? The problem. What problem do they have? But then more importantly, what are the external problems? So I heard someone say today, Dr. Cree talks about this all the time, bullying. Bullying for kids is an external problem of a child who has a pain condition, right? Access to medical care, that's an external problem. Guide. Who is the guide? The process or the plan. What is the process? What's the plan that's going to help our hero, our character, achieve success? The call to action, and by the way, you guys will all have access to the PowerPoint, just let you know that. Success, what are 3 to 4 ways that they'll succeed? And what are 2 to 3 consequences if you don't take action today? Now, before we get into the exercise, I want to show you guys how this works in an actual appeal. So this is an appeal that I wrote for Raise Up Families. It was part of a larger year-end campaign. So it was letter 2 that went out in this larger campaign. Always start with the hook. Now, the number 1 takeaway from today is what? Donor first. So when you send a letter of any kind, I don't care if it's a newsletter, an email, a print letter to a donor, what is the first word that should appear in that letter 100% of the time, no exception? You. Why? Donor first, because I want to hear about me, right? I want to hear about how great I am and how I'm changing lives and how I'm transforming the world for people living with skin disease. We as nonprofits, again, we're so excited to tell everybody everything. We want to write a letter that says, we're excited to share with you. I can't wait to tell you. Frankly, I don't care. Tell me about me, right? So, and start with the hook too. And this is a real story. You are the reason I'm alive. I'm going to read that. That sounds pretty cool. The hero. It's complicated because Faith has endured so much. Just introduce her. We changed her name for protection purposes. The problem. Like nearly all parents who enter our 9-month handout program, Faith comes from a family and a place she had to fight her way out of. So that's the problem. Faith came from a difficult family and one that lived in poverty. The process or the plan. It's not just the rent support. So now we know that this organization offers rent support. It's the unconditional love, the counseling, the way you build my confidence, the belief you and all of your donors have in me. So now we understand, it's not just a tangible rent support. There are actually people that are providing all these things to help Faith heal. The call to action. Now you see here preferred variable 1. So I do mail merges where I can actually customize every letter. And because this is all about who? The donor. The donor, very good. All right, we're getting there. That preferred variable 1 says, Kelly, I know you just gave a gift in February of this year to help us send kids to camp. But if it's within reach for you, variable 2, could you give another $50, $75, or $81? Now, the reason those gift amounts are variable is that if Kelly gives in that $50 to $100 range, I want to make sure that she's getting a letter that's appropriate for her giving. However, I have donors that give $5,000 through the mail. So I'm asking them for $4,895, $5,000, or $5,275 in that letter. Because I'm saying to them when I do that, I see you. I see your giving capacity. I acknowledge what you've done for us in the past. These types of communications, they take time. It is worth it. When you look at your time and where you spend it, spending it on customizing your communications to speak to your donors will pay off in spades. Okay, achieve success. Will ensure our ability to transform the lives of more hardworking, loving parents just like Faith. Got it. Avoid failure. Does not let them slip through the cracks. If you don't give now, people like Faith are going to fall through the cracks and their lives are not going to be great. I always like to do a second call to action. Will you double your impact? You're a matching donor. And again, achieve success. Lastly, a PS. I can't tell you why, but I can tell you that scientifically, people are more likely to respond to your letter if you give a PS. Doesn't even really matter what you say, right? Just give a PS. Okay, this is the working part. Here's what we're going to do right now. Everybody get your pencil out, your paper. You are going to build your story. I'm going to give you 1 minute for each of these 7 different parts of the framework. Set my timer here. You're asking for money, you only tell the story of one because we relate to understand the role in story. So, think of right now one person who's in a player organization. You have 1 minute to describe this one person who's being blind. A little bit about them, where they come from, the struggle they have, and what do they want? One person will take the organization. Now, what's the problem that person has? What's the external problem? What's the internal problem? How did that make it work? What is the problem? Step 4. You write it out, right? What is your end state? Write a brief statement that expresses an educated understanding of what your current zone would lie you. What is so special about your organization? Develop a process. What is it? What is it? Your organization? What is your process? That follow. Let's get it. Here is we're calling our donors to action. So what's the action they need to take? Is it to get money? Is it to share on social? Is it to introduce people to your organization? Is it to become a board member? Develop a group? What is the call to action that you use to on-ramp donors? Because it's success in the other. When you succeed as an organization, what does that mean to your hero? The help of your donor, when you were successful, what does that mean to the community? What does it mean for schools? What does it mean to your state? Whatever it is, and what failure are you